You can tell I have not been golfing as much anymore because I'm getting way, way, way more pale. Oh well. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Catherine and today we're going to be asking that age-old question, can men and women be friends? Short answer, yes. Long answer is going to go over a lot of boundaries. Again, this is totally my opinion. I do not speak for the Catholic Church. I do not speak for anyone. I speak for me, myself, Catholic Catherine. Okay, so there's a huge difference between childhood friends of the opposite sex and friends of the opposite sex that you met as an adult fairly recently. So I have a good group of male friends that I met many years ago as a child. We're still very close to this day. I still hang out with all of them in a group setting, and I also hang out with all of them one-on-one. And we text and Snapchat and all that good stuff, talk to each other on the phone very regularly. I have hung out with these guys one-on-one while I've had boyfriends. My boyfriends have never been uncomfortable with this. I truly believe it's because they're friends from childhood. I see them more as brothers than anything else, and I never will see them as more than anything else. You should always be comfortable with letting your significant other hang out with the childhood friends of the opposite sex. I think that's totally fine. Now, friends of the opposite sex that you met as an adult, please remember this is different. You've got to put different kind of boundaries on there. All right? It's just the way it is. You want to make sure that in the back of your mind, you're not consciously thinking, okay, I will stay friends with this man or this woman because maybe one day they will change their mind and there will be some kind of romantic interest in me. You can't have that in the back of your head, and sometimes you can't control it, but be very aware of that, especially if you're in a relationship. Be very aware of that, because if you're in a relationship, some of the opposite sex, that you think maybe one day they'll change their mind about me and I'll dump so and so and I'll get with them. You might not be thinking this regularly. Think in the back of your head, is that why I stay in contact with this person? If it is, you need to prune them from your life. I think something really sad about being an adult is starting to prune people from your life that are not bringing you joy, that are not bringing you closer to Christ. That does not necessarily mean all of your friends have to be Catholic, but they do have to want the best for you. They do have to love you. I think loving someone is wanting the best for someone. If you have a friend that is not wanting the best for you, you need to remove them from your life. Now, back to the topic of, can men and women be friends? You got to set up some boundaries, especially if you're in a relationship. But even if you're not in a relationship, I think texting friends of the opposite sex, please be aware of what time you are texting them. All right, I really like to think the cutoff is between 9 or 9:30, okay? Because that's, as a single person, that's when you start to get lonely. Just, you don't want to ever lead someone on of the opposite sex, and you don't want to form any kind of chemical bonding or anything like that. That could be sending off little signals in the brainwaves. So be aware of that. This is totally my advice. The texting past a certain hour, it gets uncomfortable. I once had a boyfriend. I was with my boyfriend and I was texting this guy, and it was about 10 o'clock at night, and he was a male friend. And it made my boyfriend super uncomfortable that I was texting this man late at night. And we were texting about something that was totally platonic, totally nothing wrong with that, but he was very uncomfortable. And in hindsight, he had every right to be uncomfortable. Should not have been sending those texts. All those texts could have waited till the morning. Hanging out with someone of the opposite sex one-on-one, I don't really see the reason why you need to be doing this, especially if you're in a relationship and they're not, again, like I said, a childhood friend. If they're a coworker and you guys are just going to lunch, maybe in the cafeteria, or you guys are going out to lunch, I think that's fine. Every once in a while, keep it dry. Don't involve alcohol. That's never a good idea. That's just, things can happen with alcohol. Don't involve that. If you guys made plans with a huge group and everybody else in the group dropped out and it's just the two of you, okay, that's fine. You weren't trying to go on this like little weird date. If you guys just happen to be the only two interested in going seeing a movie together, that's fine. You're not cuddling. You're not chemically putting yourselves together. That's fine. But don't try to go in just thinking one man and one woman. It's just, I don't recommend it. It just sends off vibes. There have been times where I have gone out to dinner or things like that with friends of the opposite sex when I'm not in a relationship. And I try to always sit at the bar or sit at like a counter if you're at a diner. I think that's way healthier because you're not sitting across from someone. It doesn't feel as much like a date. When you're at a bar, you're leaning against the bar. Usually there's TV, so there's stimulation. You're not focusing on one another. I think that's very healthy. If you're in a relationship and someone of the opposite sex is texting you, are there any texts that you do not want your significant other to see? Be very aware of that. If there are any texts you do not want your significant other to see, or if you get really good news and you text your friend before you text your significant other, that could be emotional cheating. Okay, that's a very serious thing. That might be more of a reflection on your relationship than it is with your relationship with that friend. But that's kind of emotional cheating. Have you introduced this friend to your significant other? Do you have any reason not to introduce this friend to your significant other? Just ask yourselves these questions. If you are the friend and your friend of the opposite sex gets a girlfriend or boyfriend, are you including this girlfriend or boyfriend in the group text now? Are you texting that friend to make plans, and are you including the girlfriend? I'm not saying every single time if there's like a limited number of people that you have to invite the girlfriend. You don't, okay? It's your event, your party. You want to not invite the girlfriend. You don't have to, but then you got to invite other people. You can't just be you and that person. That's just a little weird. You get into that gray area. So at the end of the day, I really think it's totally possible to have friends of the opposite sex. You just got to set up those boundaries, ask yourself those questions, and talk to your significant other. I once had a boyfriend. I was on FaceTime with him, and he said, "Oh, wait, I got to go," and hung up the phone. And I was like, okay, why'd you end so abruptly? So I called him later that day. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. My friend called me." And it was the friend of the opposite sex. And I said, "You hung up the phone on me very abruptly so you could get a call from her?" I was very much annoyed. He said, "Oh, no, we had planned to talk and she lives in a different country, so this is what happens." That was weird. I didn't like that. That's not cool. Don't do that. Always put your significant other first before your friends in that kind of situation. I'm not saying you gotta ditch all your friends. Don't you dare do that. That's stupid. But you gotta put your significant other first in those kind of situations. That was just rude. I broke up with him, just saying. Later down the line, but still. But I want you guys to examine yourself, and if you have more friends of the opposite sex than you do of your own sex, try and figure out why that is. Are you purposely going after friends of the opposite sex because you're hoping one of them will turn into a romantic relationship? Why? Why do you have more friends of the opposite sex than you do of your sex? Is it the type of activities that you're doing? Be careful, guys, all right? I know it's hard, and I know I'm breaking like normal contemporary norms, but there's a reason why these traditional norms were the way they are. I find that most of my friends, it doesn't really matter if they're man or woman. It depends on whether or not they're single or married, just because it's easier to be friends with another single person because they have abundantly more time to make plans and everything like that. Be aware of what you're doing. Be aware of how you're acting around these people, and you never know. You could meet your significant other through a friend of the opposite sex. That is totally possible. And I'm not saying you guys can't be friends. Like, I have so many great male friends. We hang out, great groups of people. I text them. Again, just don't text them late. Just be smart. Okay, you guys? All right. I'm just rambling now. You guys, the moral of the story, be smart, communicate with your significant other, and you're good to go. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you could give this video a thumbs up and hit the bell and hit subscribe so you never miss one of my videos, I'll be super grateful for that. And can you let me know in the comments, are there any other kind of videos you'd like to see from me? Are you friends with a lot of people of the opposite sex? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.